Bienvenue à Bordeaux, one of the most famous wine regions in the world. And welcome to Georamble. I'm going to tell you a few things about what's happening around here. As you know, the term Bordeaux is synonymous with wine. What the British used to call claret, often red wines, Carmenère, Cabernet Franc, Cabernet Sauvignon, Merlot, and perhaps some Malbec. And in Bordeaux, this has been over centuries and centuries, about 2,000 years since Roman times, the mainstay of the local economy. And in this region then, we have a number of extremely famous wineries, some of the most famous in the world. There are about 800 chateaux, and each chateau from the kind of feudalistic times would grow the wines, grow the vines around there, and the labour would, on the estate, would gather that wine. Now, of course, labour these days is paid, but the chateau system still exists, and great prestige is associated with the different chateaux. And some of them, in this particular region, are amongst the best known in the world. There are around 13,000 wine growers in the region of Bordeaux, and it produces every year somewhere approaching 900 million bottles. And about half of that is exported, the rest is for domestic consumption. And driving this system is a very clever innovation, economically and socially, which we call the appellation de contrôle. And that is where certain regions, certain areas within regions are subdivided into sections and sectors. And the wine that grows in those regions is identified specifically with them. And the story becomes that the terroir, the soil, the climate, even the social history, all amalgamate to produce that particular wine that's unique to that particular place. Now, since the 1930s, the French have controlled that system, and they've codified that system, and it stands in legal terms. So to produce, for example, we're now in the Pauliac Contrôlé in the Bordeaux region, on the Médoc Peninsula, which runs out of Bordeaux. And this is one of the most famous. This is where some of the best wines in the world are produced. But unless you grow your grapes here, you're not allowed to claim that you are Pauliac. So what's essentially happening is we've got a spatialized monopoly situation, oligopoly, oligopsonistic situation occurring. And of course later on, with the evolution of the European Union, then the World Trade Organization from 1995, what happened was that this idea of geographic indications was codified and exported to the rest of the world. That's why we think of champagne, that's why we think of Cornish pasties, that's why we think of various things across the world associated with specific places. It's a way of spatializing economic value, building a story around it, and then trading upon that value. And the French invented that, and they invented it in this region here and other regions of France, but it was perfected in the region of Bordeaux, in chateaux like this one, Chateau Pichon-Baron, which is like a scene from a Walt Disney movie. But if you look around here, of course, you've also got the modern kind of aspects of the orchards and the winery over here. So these French These French winemakers now combine, if you like, the best of the kind of historic, socio-economic, embedded story of place together with the latest technologies. There are some fascinatingly and very advanced schools for phenology in Bordeaux, for example, as you would imagine, and their winemakers are famous all across the world. So it really is a perfect coming together of history and contemporary technology, spatialized in such a way geographically to extract the greatest profit and reputation from it. So that's